The Louisiana Attorney General is third in line of succession to the Louisiana governor, which makes it a prime political office to tee up future gubernatorial aspirations.
The current attorney general is running for governor, so that means you're going to have an open seat. And so politicians love an open seat, in the same way that a bull loves the color red. So a politician loves an open seat. And also, some of these politicians themselves are probably term limited themselves, so they're facing political mortality in a sense. So a statewide position looks very attractive.
All five candidates running for the job of Louisiana Attorney General are practicing lawyers, a requirement for the elected position. They are, in alphabetical order, Lindsey Cheek, running as a Democrat from New Orleans with the endorsement of Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards.
I stand before you as a fierce advocate for women in Louisiana, including the women's right to choose life for themselves.
Candidate Marty Maley of Baton Rouge is running as a Republican. He is the district attorney who helped successfully prosecute serial killers Derek Todd Lee and Sean Gillis.
Look, 28-year career prosecutor. During that time at the DA's Association, tried all sorts of stuff. Handled RICO cases, handled money laundering cases, handled complex drug cases, handled asset forfeiture, handled DWI cases. Moved on to the DA's office across the river over here, got to participate in 2 serial killer cases.
Solicitor General Liz Merrill of Baton Rouge is running as a Republican. Liz works with the current Attorney General Jeff Landry as the second in command in his office.
I have personally led over the DAs and assisted the DAs in over 200 cases in state and federal courts, criminal cases, and that's through the post-conviction process.
State Representative John Stavansky of Crowley is running as a Republican.
Served in the legislature. That's definitely something I feel separates myself as well. Understand what it takes to craft budgets, understand what it takes to actually effectuate change and how a bill gets moved through the process.
Candidate Perry Walker Terrebonne, an attorney since 1994, lives and practices in Plaquemines Parish. He is a lifelong Democrat.
I think Attorney General should not politicize the office. I believe the current Attorney General has done that to some extent.
Many voters want to know about the state's chief legal officer's plan of attack to reduce crime. However, the state Attorney General has limited power to fight crime at the street level. Each has pledged to do their part within the powers of the office.
There's a mental health crisis in Louisiana that we need to address from childhood to adulthood. The laws that are in place are, the AG is required to enforce them and to work with DAs across the state. Our DAs are very competent. Law enforcement needs help. We need to be able to encourage and foster and bring in more law enforcement personnel.
The legislature is beginning to understand there's going to be a crime session right out the box, whoever the governor is. And the rules may change. The juvenile justice system's got to be torn down brick by brick and rebuilt in a way that makes sense.
Our investigators have statewide criminal jurisdiction to investigate crime all over the state. We provide assistance to law enforcement upon request and upon initiation of our own investigations. Someone, after they are convicted, has at least 9 chances to overturn their convictions after they leave the original conviction process, and we just simply don't have the resources in all our rural offices to be able to manage all of that appellate work, and so it is extremely important work.
Louisiana is in a crisis mode from a detention standpoint. We cannot house the amount of juvenile offenders we have currently, and so what happens when you can't house them is they go immediately home. And oftentimes the public is extremely frustrated because they immediately reoffend. So first and foremost, the legislature and the governor, whoever our next governor, has to get on board with building more regional detention facilities. And I'm not talking about just locking them up. I'm talking about recidivism efforts, education efforts in those as well. And so it's a multi-tiered approach.
I tend to give the juvenile the benefit of the doubt. I don't think throwing them in Angola is a good idea. It's something, I think you'll have to we need better parenting support. I think I would have a lenient approach towards juveniles. I don't like throwing people in jail if they're 16 or 17 for a life. That's not something I believe in. So my approach would be lenient, but to try to help figure the situation out.
The state attorney general can prosecute or intervene in any civil legal proceeding and can advise or assist in a criminal prosecution if requested by a district attorney or the court. He or she investigates public corruption, oversees consumer protection and antitrust matters, and can conduct investigations and prosecutions of Medicaid fraud. Voters go to the polls October 14th to vote in the primary election. Also on the ballot, candidates for Louisiana's next governor. The state attorney general and the governor don't have to be politically aligned because the attorney general is not the governor's legal counsel. The governor has his own lawyers for legal advice.
More than likely, it's going to be a runoff in this race, and so that will be one of the races that will carry over into November. The person who wins that office potentially could be there a while. Very rarely do we defeat that person in the next term, so that person could actually be there for a while.